Boxing Truth here. Let me do a little last minute prediction video for this fight between Joe Saunders and Willie Monroe Jr. Talk a little bit about this fight, give a quick prediction. It's a fight that's always happening because opponents fell out for Joe Saunders. Willie Monroe was next in line in the rankings as he offered fights to David Lemieux. David Lemieux turned it down for whatever reason. That would have been a better style for Billy Joe for this fight. A come forward type style. He actually lets his hands go more when the guys come at him. Chris Eubank Jr., Spike O'Sullivan. If you watch those fights, Billy Joe brought out his best in those fights. Against Willie Monroe, stylistically, it's not the fight, if I'm his matchmaker, I would want to put him in. But Billy Joe, he's been champion since late 2015. He's only had one defense. Thought he lost his last fight against a hand-picked opponent. Looked like trash in his last fight. Wasn't disciplined in training camp or after the fight with Andy Lee. Ballooned up in weight. Pretty much had a training camp to lose weight, and he didn't fight to the best of his ability. That wasn't the best of Billy Joe. The build-up to this fight has been a little intriguing. There's been a lot of trash talking, a lot of controversial statements. Willie Monroe is very upset. He's threatening to sue Frank Warren. Not feeling the hospitality he's been given since he's arrived in England about a week ago. He's still going to go on with the fight. He might as well. He had a training camp. He's had a lot of expenses. Went over to England, so he might as well just get the fight over with and get paid. Mentally, Willie Monroe looks rattled. Not comfortable at all with the surroundings. Being in England. What's happened to him. Getting punched in the balls by Billy Joe's son, if that was his son. So, Willie Monroe he's been taking it on the chin, and he's gonna go through with the fight. And stylistically, it's a very high probability that this is gonna be a stanker. This could be a really shit fight. Billy Joe, I've seen many fights of his. There's nothing great about it. To be frank, his interviews are more interesting than the majority of his fights. That's the thing he has. That's what he got going for him. He's got some personality. He talks trash. He creates an emotion with his audience, so that's a good thing. But he's not the most entertaining fighter to watch in the world, and he's not that good. He doesn't do anything great. He has pretty good speed. When he puts his punches together, he can be pretty good. Fast, some sharpness to his punches. He can be a pretty good counter puncher when he tries. But in a lot of his fights, he's inconsistent offensively. Spends a lot of time looking at his opponents, not capitalizing on big moments like he did against Andy Lee. After knocking him down, he barely did shit after that fight. After knocking Andy Lee down twice. He's had spurts where doesn't do shit offensively. And Willie Monroe, he's a guy that doesn't like to engage. He waits for his opponents, and then throws a counter shot. Throws a few jabs here and there, but he mostly likes to counter punch and likes to wait for his opponents so he can capitalize on their mistakes. So I sense a stanker in this fight. I'm hoping for a good fight, but this is just stylistically, these two guys are just, it's hard to see them make a great fight together. But maybe the animosity towards each other, maybe the trash talking, will get them to fight a little bit out of their character. Billy Joe needs a big time performance. He needs to put some relevancy back into his career. He needs a knockout. He needs to look good at least. He needs to dominate this cat. He needs to, get people excited about him. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. was the loser of their fight, and in my eyes, he's already surpassed him. He surpassed him in popularity. He surpassed him in relevancy. And let's be honest, who would you rather watch fight? Chris Eubank Jr. or Billy Joe Saunders? Most people will say Chris Eubank Jr. And Billy Joe, he has actual recognized hardware around his waist, but he's done jack shit with it. And he doesn't have the best opponent, really, in my eyes, to really capitalize on a big time performance. But he looks in pretty good shape. He's looking pretty sharp in his workouts. Seems motivated, but he needs a big time performance. And Willie Monroe, he doesn't punch enough. He's not aggressive enough. I actually think it's gonna be a tricky fight for Billy Joe. I don't think it's gonna be easy. The odds makers don't see it as it's gonna be easy either. They only have Billy Joe as a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 favorite, so it's not huge odds against Willie Monroe. But it's a Frank Warren promoted show. Frank Warren most likely got it taken care of for Billy Joe. At least one judge is paid off. It's his show. It's on his turf. Monroe doesn't have much knockout power. Only 6 KOs. And he was in a stinker his last fight against Gabe Rosado. Very hard fight to watch. Not even worth watching. But since Monroe is on the road, and I don't think he's really fighting on an even playing field right now, you got to go with Billy Joe Saunders in this fight. I think he'll win the decision. I'm hoping for an entertaining fight. It'll be surprising if Billy Joe could put in a great performance, even knock Willie Monroe out. I don't see it. I don't see him making that type of a statement, but he needs that in order to entice other middleweights to fight him or to get the big fight he craves. It'd be pretty funny if the Canelo Golovkin winner just says, you know, fuck Billy Joe. I'll get that Miguel Cotto payday instead. It's very possible that could happen to Billy Joe. But I believe his reign will continue. I don't think he's a great fighter. And frankly, I think Canelo and Golovkin will both whoop his ass. But he'll be here to stay for at least another title defense. He'll retain his WO middleweight strap. Most likely a unanimous decision. And he'll move on to hopefully more interesting fights and more better stylistic matchups in order to see the best out of Billy Joe. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.